Hello dear students, my name is Ankita and I am teaching as an assistant professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering at St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management, Gurugram. I welcome all of you to the lecture 13 of my online lecture series, and in this video we are going to study about Windows NT and 2000. In the previous video we studied about network operating system, proxy servers and virtual LANs. Okay, so we studied about their working and the various components of all these three topics. So Windows NT is another network operating system wherein NT stands for new technology, and it is a new series which is introduced in the field of networking by Windows operating system. The first version of Windows NT was released in 1993, which was known as 3.1 Windows NT 3.1, and it is basically a 32-bit operating system which is having a default file system NTFS, and this Windows NT series supports primitive multitasking. Okay, so we will start with the features of Windows NT. So we will see the architecture of this Windows NT, or what are the threads, what type of kernel activities are there in this type of operating system. So NTFS is a file system which was introduced in NT family. It is the default file system of this operating system, which is capable of recovering from the disk errors automatically, and it also supports large sized hard disk. Besides that, it provides securities like permission and encryption. And second one is hardware abstraction layer, which is a part of its architecture also, and the features of HAL includes the hardware. HAL layer provides the interface between hardware and the software, and operating system access hardware via hardware abstraction layer. This feature enables Windows to run regardless of the hardware platform as well. Primitive multitasking says that all the computer programs share operating systems and the hardware resources in the equal manner, and remote access is that 4.0 version of Windows NT provide terminal server edition, which was designed to provide the features to log into the system remotely. So these are the features of Windows NT, due to which this operating system is in great demand in the field of networking. Windows NT versions, we have four versions of Windows NT so far, and 3.1 is the first version, which was introduced in July 1993. So it had workstations and the advanced server also, both were included in this version. 3.5 was introduced in 1994 September, and it provide the workstation and the server, both the nodes. Windows NT 3.51, which was introduced in May 1995, it also supported workstations as well as server. And the last one is 4.0, which is currently in use, and it was introduced in July 1996. It supports workstations, server enterprise editions, terminal servers, embedded, etc. So this one version is in use these days. So one more point I would like to say, that it is mentioned that Windows NT oblique 2000. So 2000 operating system, that was to some extent based on the architecture of Windows NT. We will be looking at the various components included in the architecture also. So Windows 2000 also worked on the same architecture. This architecture works in two mode. First one is user mode, and second one is the kernel mode, or you can say it comprises of two layers, user layer and the kernel layer. All the programs and the subsystems in user mode, they are limited in terms of what system resources they have access to, while the kernel mode has unrestricted access to the system memory and the external devices. So we all know in general terms also, kernel is the main program which is responsible for executing all the programs in the operating system. So kernel is the main part of the operating system. Okay, so all the kernels in such type of windows all are known as hybrid kernels. The architecture consists of hybrid kernels basically, and HAL, the hardware abstraction layer, drivers and the executive, which all exist in the kernel mode as well. So higher level services are implemented by the executive layer. So this is the executive services. We will be looking at each of the phase one by one. So first of all, user mode in Windows NT line is made up of subsystems capable of passing input output request to the appropriate user kernel mode software drivers by using the input output manager. Okay, I have included one more architecture diagram in coming sections. Two subsystems make up the user mode layer Windows 2000: the environment subsystems and the integrals. Both in the NT as well as the 2000 operating system, two subsystems are there: environmental subsystem and integral. Environmental subsystem runs application written for many different types of operating systems, and integral subsystem operates system specific functions on behalf of the environment subsystem. And kernel mode in Windows 2000 has full access to the hardware and system resources of the computer, and kernel mode stops user mode services and applications from accessing the critical areas of the operating system that they should not have access to. It also deals with the input output object management, security, and the process management. Kernel sits we all know that in normal operating system also, kernel sits between the hardware abstraction layer and the executive, or you can say user and the hardware, to provide multiprocessor synchronization, thread and interrupt scheduling and dispatching, trap handling and exception dispatching, etc. Kernel is also responsible for initializing device drivers at boot up. And kernel device exists in three levels basically: highest level drivers, intermediate drivers, and lower level drivers. So window driver model, the WDM, that exists in intermediate level layer and was mainly designed to be binary and source compatible with the Windows 98 and Windows 2000. And lowest level drivers are highly legacy Windows NT device drivers that control a device directly, or can be a PNP hardware bus. Okay, so user mode is made up of the subsystems which can pass input output request to the appropriate kernel mode device drivers via the input output manager. And the detailed two subsystems, environmental subsystem and integral subsystem, says that environmental subsystem was designed to run applications within for many different types of operating system. None of the environmental subsystems can directly access the hardware, but must request access to the memory resources via virtual memory manager that runs in the kernel mode. Also, the applications run at a lower priority than kernel mode processes. So currently there are three main environmental systems: Windows 32 subsystem and OS2 subsystem, and the POSIX system. So these three are the environmental subsystems which are available with the Windows NT and Windows 2000. So Win32 environmental subsystem runs on the 32-bit Windows applications, and it contains the console as well as the Windows support, text window support, shutdown and hard error handling for all type of environment subsystems. It also supports virtual DOS machines, VDM, and which allows MS-DOS and the 16-bit 3.x the applications to run on the Windows. So integral subsystem looks after the operating system specific functions on behalf of the environmental subsystem, and it consists of a security subsystem, workstation services, and server services. So these two type of services are included in integral subsystem. Security subsystem deals with the security tokens, grants and denial of the access to user accounts based on the resource permissions, handles logon request and initiate logon authentication, and determines which system resources need to be audited by Windows 2000. It also looks after the Active Directory. The workstation services is an API to the network redirector which provides the computer access to the hardware. And so what comes in the executive subsystem? So these two headings include the functionalities which we have included above in the here in the kernel mode. So here I have defined something about kernel. This is the user mode, this is the type of subsystems, kernel mode again, and the executive. So let's see on some other functions of kernel mode in 2000 Windows 2000. Windows 2000 kernel mode has full access to the hardware and system resources of the computer that runs code in a protected memory area. The kernel mode stops user mode services and applications from accessing critical areas of the operating system that they should not have access to, as user mode processes ask the kernel mode to perform such operations on its behalf. So kernel mode itself consists of the executive services, which itself made up of the many modules that do specific tasks. So like kernel drivers, kernel and the hardware, the abstraction, hardware abstraction layer, etc., all are included in the executive portion of the kernel mode. Okay, so executive interface with all the user mode subsystem deals with the input output, object management, security and process management. It contains also other components like security reference monitors and object managers, IPC manager, virtual memory manager, a PNP manager and the power manager, and as well as the Windows manager also, which works in the conjunction with the Windows graphics device interface. Each of these components exports a kernel only support routine, allowing other components to communicate with one another. So this is totally a theory based concept, so I have included much of the content as the functionality of various parts of its reference model. So we will just start this reference model, explaining this reference model and various components of this reference model. Okay, so first of all, kernel mode and user mode is common in Windows NT and and Windows 2000. So kernel mode, we have seen what does it work and what are the responsibility of this kernel mode. For example, CPU scheduling, that hybrid scheduling and static priority scheduling, interrupt and exception handling, lower level process synchronization and recovery after a power failure, etc. All these are the functions of the DMA control also. All these are the functions of your kernel mode. And in this kernel is object oriented basically. So all objects, either dispatcher object or the control object. Dispatcher object have to do with the dispatching and synchronization, that is they are active or the temporal things like threads, basic unit of CPU dispatch events, record event occurrence and synchronization timer, tracks time, signal timeouts, etc. Okay, so next is the process and thread. So Windows NT split the virtual processor into two parts: a process, the unit of resource ownership, in which each has a security token, a virtual address space, a set of resource. Okay, so resources means one or more threads, a thread like a unit of dispatching. Each has a scheduling state also, and other scheduling parameters are also included, and a context slot and associated process. Generally thread have 1 to 6 states. Okay, generally a thread have 1 to 6 states, and these states are ready, standby, running, waiting, transition, terminated and they all are cooperative, all in the process share and the same address space, and the object handles lightweight, less work to create, delete than the processes. So processes threads are similar as we have studied in the subject operating system. So a CPU scheduling states that a process will have to pass some states, like from the beginning when it gets ready to be executed. That starts via create process routine, and it gets loaded via dynamic link libraries that are used by the process and creating a primary thread, and additional threads that can be created via the create thread function. Hybrid static dynamic priority scheduling also included in this CPU scheduling, and the priority is the priorities are dependent on real time priority, that is called static, or the variable or the dynamic priority. Okay, so if the priority in the scheduling is the real time priority, then the value will be 1, and if it is variable type or dynamic priority, then priority 0 is reserved for that particular purpose. So object and manager in Unix also, in everything in a file, in NT also everything is known as a file, everything is the object, and every resource in NT is represented by the object kernel. Objects are re-exported at executive levels by the encapsulation. Objects comprise a header and a body and have a type also, approximately 15 types in total. So object manager's responsibilities for creating and tracking objects and object handles also. And an object handles represent an open object and is processed local, somewhat analogous to the FD performing security checks. And objects are manipulated by the standard set of methods, namely create, open, close, delete, query name, parse, and security. And these are usually per type or per class, and hence implemented via the indirection through the associative object type. So object namespace is another part of the architecture of the Windows NT, which has a name. Object obviously will have a name, a temporary or permanent, which is given by the NT executive, and the object manager manages a hierarchical namespaces that is shared between all the processes, and a namespace is implemented via the directory object, which is analogous to subsystem directories. Each object is protected by the access control list, and the naming domains, which means the file system namespace, can be integrated object names structured like path, file path names and names in MS-DOS and Unix. Symbolic link objects allow multiple names for the same object as well. So process manager provides the services for creating and deleting and using threads and processes. It is very flexible, and no built-in concept or the parent-child relationship or inheritance or the process hierarchies will be there. Processes and threads, they are treated orthogonally, and thus can support POSIX, OS2 and Windows 30. These three are type of the services provided by the Windows NT. Okay, so it is up to the environmental subsystem also that owns the process to handle any hierarchical relationship, for example the inheritance, cascading, termination, etc. So reasons for choosing Windows NT are like portability, true multitasking, multi-threaded, process independent, multiprocessor support, security and POSIX support. So all these terms we have studied in subject of operating system also. So due to these reasons, the Windows NT is highly required in the field of networking, and which is greatly replacing the Windows 3.1 and Windows 95, which were used in the past few years. And its part of technology have already been found themselves incorporated into the Windows 95 and Windows for the work group. Okay, so these are the reasons for which the Windows NT have replaced the existing network operating systems. Most portability says that most PC based operating system were written in lower level assembly languages instead of higher levels such as C or C++, and this decision was taken to provide smaller program sizes and the best possible performances. Okay, so the disadvantage of is that the operating system and the applications are now dependent on the hardware platform, and it is extremely difficult to move one platform to another. So MS-DOS is written in 8086 assembler, which is incompatible with the M68000 processors used in Apple Macintosh. Okay, so for a software company like Microsoft, this has an additional threat of being dependent on a single process platform. So if the platform changes, who remembers the Z80 and 650 processors nowadays, which were the mainstays of the early PCs, then its software technology becomes obsolete. So with an operating system which is written in high level language and which is portable also to the other platforms, it allows Microsoft and the other application developers to be less hardware dependent. Okay, so multitasking, multi-threaded, process independent, processor support, security and POSIX support. So all these are the reasons of choosing Windows NT instead of other Windows operating system. Windows NT offers several levels of security through its use of the multi-part access token. So this token is created and verified when a user logs on to the system and contains IDs for the user. POSIX standard defines a set of interfaces and allow POSIX compliant applications to easily be ported between the POSIX compliant computer system. So both basically security and POSIX, these support are commercially essential to satisfy the purchasing requirements from the government departments both in the abroad as well as in rest of the world. So other Windows characteristics, Windows NT characteristics are process priorities. Every process is set up on the basis of some priority. So this is the diagram of different priority levels, which is shared in terms of the base class levels, and the real-time classes comprise priority level 16 through 31, and the dynamic classes use priority 15 to 0. So these all are the ranges through which some certain classes of the processes are divided according to their priorities. Okay, so this is the diagram which shows how base classes are organized. First point is that within a given dynamic base class it is possible for a lot of overlap, although a process have a lower base class compared to another process. So it may be a higher priority than the other one depending on the actual priority level that has been assigned to it. The real-time class is the little simpler, although again there is some possibility for overlap. So interrupt priorities says that consider that in various microprocessors we have separate pins for the interrupt handling also. So if an interrupt is of higher priority, then the current interrupt priority mask will be generated and the current processing will stop and be replaced with the associated routines for the new higher priority level. So if any interrupt is generated with the higher priority, then microprocessor stops working on its current process and it first executes the routines associated with the priorities, and then it moves further. So similarly, Windows 2000 have certain versions also, like we saw in the case of Windows NT. Windows 3.1 was there, 3.5 was there, now currently version is 4.0. So Windows 2000 server was also available in 4 editions, and every edition was having their own features, like 2000 advanced server and Windows 2000 data center server provide cluster services, which helps a server to run applications that were running on another server that has stopped working. So these are the versions, like 2000 server, 2000 advanced server, 2000 data center server, and 2000 professional edition. And the main features of this Windows, again NTFS was there, and virtual VPN, virtual private network was there, and this operating system provide VPN feature that allows you to make your computer a remote server and enables other users to connect to the server via virtual private network. With this feature, the users can access shared files that reside on your system or on the network also. Distributed file system was there in 2000 server, which brought distributed file system feature, which enables users to distribute file across the multiple server over the network. Active Directory was also included in this operating system for the first time in Windows 2000 server, and Active Directory is used to restore information about the resources, users, or the groups and its attributes. So questions related with these two you can find as a short note. So it can be asked like write short note on Windows NT and 2000. So all you need to do is to explain the characteristics, architecture, and various components of the architecture in the Windows NT and the 2000 operating system. So this was all about the Windows NT and 2000 operating system. With this video, the 4th unit is finished, and we will start next videos from unit 1. Thank you so much. Take care.